Sai Tachibana claims to not have a heart, so he kills people, hoping it'll make him feel something. Perennial Dusk Kinsenka is an introspective paranormal story about people with emotional trauma searching for meaning and happiness. And our killer main protagonist was able to find it through love at first sight. Thanks to Frontwing for providing me a review copy of Perennial Dusk Kinsenka, and for showing me both a fantastical story and also a depressing one. Because the pain wasn't the emotional heartbreak from the story and its characters, but the frustration I had with the problems in this VN. I should like this title, but I just couldn't. So let's start off with the lighter stuff first. Hereby naming Kinsenka, this is a visual novel title that will catch certain people's eye because of its author, Yukito Urishibara, a pretty unique and stylistic writer, the same author behind Iro Toridori no Sekai, The Colorful World, and Sakura Moyu as the Knight's Reincarnation. Two visual novels that are considered very highly rated. Pair this along Frontwing's development team, the same studio behind Achi My Dear Moments and the Grisaya Trilogy series, and you have a very polished title. It even has one of my favorite visual novel composers working on it to further build atmosphere in this unique setting, a world that only exists in the eternal twilight. And yet, for how pretty and aesthetically beautiful this game looks, my god do I have a lot of problems with it, which can be summarized into one phrase: really strong ideas, cripplingly bad writing execution. I wanted to like this. As someone who really enjoys introspective character-focused dramas, this title should be up my alley, but I wasn't enjoying it. From having a very questionable protagonist to unacceptable pacing issues to just being outright boring, the negatives outweigh the positives for me. And yet, I'm gonna do my damnedest to tell you all of the compelling aspects of this story. Because who knows, maybe in spite of me basically slandering this title for my own personal biases against it, maybe it'll actually convince you to check it out for yourself. So where do I start? I know, how about the soulless killer protagonist? Tell me, how exactly do you make an emotionless guy who goes around dismembering schoolgirls a likable person? For Kinsenka, it's making us see what's exactly wrong with him. Sai Tachibana, our resident back alley knifer, claims he's incapable of feeling human emotions. From being unable to feel despair or enjoy any act of joy, he truly believes he doesn't have a heart, and thus resorts to asking his dissected victims for an answer. A vain attempt at making his heart feel something. Until one day he has a chance meeting with an aloof yet beautiful girl, Benio Matsuri, where for the first time in his life, his heart is struck with the feelings of love, leading him into a world of eternal twilight full of exorcists that deal with the spirits of the dead. So yeah, this is Kinsenka's way of both making him likable and pitiful at the same time. All throughout the story, he'll constantly monologue about his emptiness inside, his anguish about not being able to stir his feelings. His sudden realization of his newfound love leads him to follow Matsuri and the cast on their adventures, while he tries to work out everything mentally. Him bonding with the people he meets and going on those potentially life-threatening missions should influence him. It's a character arc progression that should work. But my god, while it does feel like his goals and actions are earnest, his methods and mentality are so flawed that it just sours any good faith gained for the man by the end of the chapter. 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but with a dash up, man, that's kind of up what you did. I mean, no character journey won't have stumbles here and there, and Sai's peculiar from the get-go, but rooting for this man is an extremely hard sell. I don't outright hate the guy, but I don't like him either, and he sure isn't charismatic in the evil killer way either, so I'm just left with this stoic, super depressed kid. At the very end of the visual novel, I still kinda don't feel for the guy, but I wouldn't say that's completely his fault, because this story doesn't give any time to help his case, from an actual writing standpoint. Speaking bluntly, Kinsenka has huge pacing issues. These characters like to talk and talk and talk, mostly about philosophical questions about life and happiness, and the story has them genuinely reflecting and thoroughly thinking about it. The problem is that it feels so incredibly boring. Nothing physically happens here, nor does it feel like it comes to an emotional, eye-opening revelation during these moments. If it's not an extended internal monologue, it's 2 people yapping in a basement. The actual script is phrased in a very contemplative way, but at some point I started falling asleep due to how long-winded it took, not to mention how repetitive it can get at times. I feel like it spent more time talking about their emotions than actually doing anything about it. If I had a drink for every time the phrase, "the human heart is but a vessel for pain," my heart would have gave out before I even got to the good parts of this VN. And even then, the story has this uncanny ability to cuck you before any seemingly interesting idea really gets going. Kinsenka has this annoying habit of building to a good climax in each of its chapters, to then suddenly shifting into flashback mode, cutting all form of energy and momentum. It's like fighting an evil boss, but just as the main character is about to deliver the final blow, you'll get this sappy backstory about how the evil boss monster was abandoned as a child or something like that. Pair this up with Kinsenka's semi-action plotline, and it just makes that feeling even worse. While Kinsenka's a drama story, there's actually a bit of action in here. You'll see these exorcists out here using their superpowers in fight scenes, but it always gave off the feeling of just providing more context to the world they all live in and their pasts. I won't bore you with going super in-depth with the rest of my minor complaints, from not being able to be invested into the side characters, to Kinsenka's awkwardly and ill-timed comedic scenes, to just these straight-up torturous in-detail backstories where the content just goes too far and instead it sounds just utterly unbelievable and absurd. It was a struggle reading through this. That said, I'll give the story credit where it's due. The conclusion in which some characters arrive at is solid, emotional even, for the characters in which the story focuses deeply on or really well explored, such as Benio Matsuri, or rather, Matsuri's alternate personality, Nobody. In comparison to the quiet, closed-off, and mysterious Matsuri, Nobody is one rather cheeky, playful girl, but she's also someone who stands firmly as Matsuri's shield to protect her. I really like Nobody. She's probably the best character in here. Chapter 1 gives a lot of context to the two's relationship, because as much as it is tragic, you can see how much the two really mean to each other. How they not only depend on each other, but going even far beyond that. It's like if an imaginary friend was born out of a response to trauma and then suddenly came to life and started helping out. Only this defense mechanism was a cute anime girl ready to start throwing hands. In the face of their cruel reality, they discovered the other, and in time started to heal because of them and their compassion. Even if the other is going through something equally traumatic. You get all of this through their perspective and inner voice. They may lament about their own situation and feelings, but equally, they also care and consider about the person who they value the most as well. It's a beautiful relationship that really captures one of the many core ideas of what this visual novel is all about. This applies not only to Matsuri and Nobody, but other central characters in this story too. Tatsuki, our other main protagonist, is determined to help free Matsuri, not just because she was his first love, but because of how deeply she's helped him in the past. He wants to do whatever he can to give back in return. Yozora is also a top contender for characters I really like. Despite her being a punching bag joke character for a large part of the story, once the visual novel finally reaches her chapter, my respect for her went up. A big net positive by the end, given how well written her character development and backstory was, where even the strongest individual to walk on this earth is weighed down by the sins of her past and her desperate attempts to atone. All of these characters are able to thrive thanks to the setting of this visual novel. The Twilight Prison is this world that records the lives and memories of people who's ever lived in this town, and it's through this that the living and the dead are able to meet each other. Those memories left behind by the dead carry feelings and messages meant for the living, and they often leave such a big impact on those individuals. Whether it's learning more about another person, or using those memories as life lessons to take away from. It's a really great setting. It may take time for this visual novel to get going, but after the ground fundamentals are set and it starts focusing on its characters, there's some really good material in here. So the big question at the end of this, do I recommend Kinsenka? Only if you're a hardcore Yukito Urashibara fan. Everyone else, though, maybe. It was certainly unique for sure. The vibes were very nice, and it really makes me want to read the author's other visual novels for his stylistic way of writing. I actually think this might be one of his weaker works. So I'm at least glad to say, thank God this is the first title I read of this author. It was just a matter of potential. This visual novel had it, but it just didn't meet it. So I'm curious on what the other titles offer. If you're interested in a visual novel similar to this one that I would recommend, check out this video over here, or this one over here for a general visual novel recommendation. I would like to thank everyone on Patreon for supporting me in covering visual novels. You guys are fantastic, and if you would like to be a part of that effort, please consider subscribing.